embryo pilot. He's air-minded and has built this perfect scale model of the famous Albatross, the glider that Colonel Lindbergh recently flew in California. Notice underneath he has a parachute attached. This glider takes flight by the boy pulling it with a small attached thread. And when it obtains sufficient elevation, he cuts the thread loose and it sails along. Let's watch him try it. There it goes. It's off the ground, gaining elevation. Isn't this a marvelous model when you think that the boy built this? Still flying. There goes the parachute. Notice the perfect three-point landing he makes at the finish.
This is a primary training glider that is swung off the ground, and with the aid of a 15 or 20-mile wind, the student is able to learn the action of his controls. The glider is towed by a steel tow cable fastened to a car. To release the tow cable, you pull back on this lever, which releases this hook. You have two controls on the glider, the rudder bar and the stick. The rudder bar gives you a directional control. To turn to the right, kick right foot, making your nose swing around to the right. To turn to the left, kick left rudder, turns you to the left. Your stick gives you lateral control and also elevator control. To bank to the right, put your stick to the right. That puts your right wing down. To bank to the left, put your stick to the left. To put your nose down, move the stick forward. To put your nose up, pull your stick back, putting your nose up. In flying, you keep this stick in neutral. In launching with a shock cord, the first thing to remember is not to get too high on the hill. Get on the slope of the hill. The boys are now walking out. The boys walk out stretching the shock cord. Run! Now they run. Let it go! Never mind, fellas. And he's off on his first flight. He keeps it right on the ground, gets to handle his rudder and his aileron. Let her go! This is the second flight that this man is making. He takes it off the ground and takes it right back down again. Uh-oh, he's having a little trouble. He's all right. It builds up confidence.
Now for a real flight with a car towing the glider by a long steel cable. As soon as the glider obtains sufficient elevation, the cable is cut loose and dropped. And then your giant bird is free to fly its own course. Even on a windless day, this glider has sufficient elevation for a short flight by banking and turning into the wind and coasting gradually down from 500 feet elevation to a smooth landing. The big kick in these land gliders is the front seat you have for the show. There's no cockpit, but in place of it, you sit right out where the propeller might be in a plane. Of course, you're strapped in, but nevertheless, there's nothing between you and Mother Earth but a full order of space. That's why gliding is man's nearest imitation of a bird flying.
I came out about 2 months ago to fly this same little Peel glider boat, which I'm going to fly for you today. If I had my way about it, I would fly this glider every day. I can't begin to tell you what a tremendous thrill it is to fly these things. The first time I was a little bit afraid, I must admit, because I thought getting up there with no power, I'd be just a little bit afraid of it. But once I got up and saw how simple it was, then I am just a glider for life. Once you do it, then you can easily understand why such people as Colonel Lindbergh and Captain Hawks have taken it up so enthusiastically. I'm sure those people who have always said they were afraid to go up in an airplane, if they would only come out and take a flight in a glider, gain a little confidence, and see how easy it is to fly, because you have the same control in the glider as you do in the plane, with the exception that there's a little change on the takeoff. It's awfully simple, and I hope that you'll get some enjoyment out of this little demonstration that we're going to give you today. Is everything all set?
All set. Let's go.
I hope I don't fall overboard.
All ready?
All righty.
All right, John, let's go. I'm going next. I'm going next.
Gliding makes you air-minded. You ride through space like a soaring buzzard. It's the safest of all air travel. But oh boy, what a funny feeling at first. Because everything is so quiet, not a sound, and you miss the roar of the motor, unless you have your mother-in-law in the back seat. You bank the glider for turns of 360 degrees and sail. You know, they have kept a glider up over 12 hours, and they have traveled over 100 miles in a straight line with one takeoff. That's why, as a sport, it is growing at such a fast pace. How gracefully this giant albatross coasts down and alights.